Welcome to AI in 8 minutes or less, your daily AI update. Okay, so Near Protocol, they've got this huge, bold claim right on their website, the blockchain for AI. Super simple, right? And hey, with a market cap over $1 billion, people are definitely listening. But a pretty sharp critical review just dropped, and it's basically asking, is this for real? Is there any actual tech to back up that flashy slogan? So, here's how we're going to break this down. Following the source's logic, we'll start with the claim, then get into the nitty-gritty of the technical critique. After that, we'll put Near head-to-head with a competitor, talk about the bigger picture of crypto marketing, and wrap it all up with the final takeaway. All right, let's kick things off with that big claim. What does it actually mean to be the blockchain for AI? This is exactly where the source video begins. And it's a great question. Before we can even start to judge Near, we got to figure out, what's the benchmark? What kind of technical muscle does a blockchain need to flex to really earn a title like that? And that question, well, it takes us right into the core of the whole argument. A really close look at what the source says Near's tech just plain can't do. So here's the main knock against Near, according to this review. When you really get under the hood, the argument is that the Near blockchain just doesn't have the power to run the super heavy calculations that an AI model needs, at least not directly on its own chain. Okay, and this gets us to a really important idea. On-chain AI. It's pretty straightforward, actually. For a blockchain to give you its main benefits, being decentralized, trustless, all that good stuff, the entire AI model has to live and breathe right there on the blockchain. The whole point of this critique is that with Near, that's just not the case. So what's the big deal? Well, according to the source, here's the problem. If you build an AI app on Near, you'd still need to use something like Amazon Web Services for all the heavy lifting, the actual AI number crunching. And that dependence on a centralized third party, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of using a decentralized blockchain to begin with. To make this point really stick, the reviewer throws out some killer analogies. They say to think of Near not as this powerful AI brain, but more like simple transactional plumbing, or maybe a coordination layer. Or, get this, just a spreadsheet secured with cryptography. Ouch. And this next one is just perfect. It's like the marketing is selling you this gorgeous house right on the water, this amazing vision of on-chain AI. But when you get there, the reviewer says the reality is, well, it's just a puddle in the corner of the backyard. A huge gap between the promise and the reality. Now, to really sharpen this critique, the source doesn't just knock Near down. They prop up a direct competitor that they claim can actually do what Near only talks about doing. And that competitor is Internet Computer Protocol, or ICP for short. The claim here is that ICP is a blockchain that can run AI models from start to finish completely on-chain. But, and this is super important, the reviewer is very upfront about the fact that they own a pretty big bag of ICP themselves, so full disclosure there. This really boils the whole technical argument down, doesn't it? The idea is that Near is just a coordination layer. It can handle the money side, the transactions about an AI, but the AI itself lives somewhere else. ICP, on the other hand, is presented as capable of full execution. It can actually host and run the entire AI model right there on the blockchain. Okay, so this whole takedown of Near, it's not really just about Near. The source uses it as a jumping-off point to talk about a much bigger trend, something that's happening all across the crypto world. And here's the pattern they point out. Just a couple years ago, what was everyone talking about? The metaverse, right? Every blockchain was suddenly for the metaverse. Now, the hot new thing is AI, so suddenly everyone's for AI. The argument is that projects like Near are just jumping on the latest, hottest bandwagon to attract investors. And this gets to what the source sees as a huge, industry-wide problem. The marketing, the hype. It gets so far ahead of the actual technology that there's this massive gap between what's promised and what can actually be delivered. And that's a really dangerous place for investors to be. So we've looked at the claim, the tech, the whole crypto context. Where does this leave us? What's the final takeaway from this whole critique? Basically, the final verdict from this review is that Near's slogan is just that, a slogan. It's marketing hype. They argue the tech itself can't actually run AI. It can only handle transactions about AI that's running somewhere else entirely. And get this, at the time this review came out, Near's market cap was $1.5 billion. The source really highlights that number to ask a pretty sharp question. How does a project get valued that high when, in their opinion, its main technological claim just doesn't hold up? Ultimately, this whole thing leaves us with a much bigger question, one that goes way beyond just NEAR or ICP. In a market that's so full of hype, how can any of us, investors, users, anyone, really check if the technology lives up to the promises? It's a tough one. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to AI in 8 minutes and never miss what matters.